Welcome back to Bazaar Morning Call. Well, this morning we have lots to negotiate. First up, there's going to be a gap down opening because of the weak handover from across the globe. But there are plenty of numbers, very good numbers from Persistent Systems, decent earnings from IndusInd Bank. And then, of course, you have a slew of earnings from the likes of Oracle, etc. So we'll talk about that. First up, let's go through the IndusInd Bank details. Abhishek is here to give us the fine print. Abhishek, morning.
IndusInd Bank, it's a bit of mixed set. However, records are taking place in Q3, given the fact that it's a 9th quarter of YOY as well as quarter-on-quarter growth in operating profits. So YOY, the growth is the best in last 4 quarters, and quarter-on-quarter, the growth is the best in last 12 quarters. Net interest margin is at 10-quarter high. Return ratios are one of the best that you are seeing in 4 years, with ROA best in 13 quarters and ROE at 12-quarter high. RWA to advances is declining. It's at 15-quarter low, which means that the balance sheet risk is actually reducing. Net interest income growth is one of the best that you are seeing in 11 quarters on a YOY basis, coming in at close to 18.5% YOY. And asset quality, that has also been very good, given the fact that gross NP ratio of 2.06% is perhaps the lowest in 8 quarters and the second lowest in last 16 quarters. On the flip side, the MFI book, now that's causing some pain, given the fact that MFI gross NPA has actually increased to 3.75% when compared to 2.9% in the previous quarter. In absolute value, the total gross NPA of the entire bank has increased by 525 crores. 51% of this has come from the MFI book alone. And in terms of disbursals, more than 8,900 crore of disbursals were done in Q3. However, just 71 crore is the increase in the AUM. So the MFI book is a worry point. PNL has beaten our poll both in terms of NI and PAT. Back to you.
All right, Abhishek, thank you very much. So meet but no beat. That's IndusInd Bank for you. Now, IT companies also reported numbers. Persistent Systems, for example, Oracle Financial Services. Rima is here with all of that. Rima, hi.
Hi, good morning. So steady and strong for Persistent Systems. It's not a big beat, but it's a good set of earnings. So dollar revenue growth at 3.44%, constant currency revenue growth at 3.5%. This is coming in at the upper end of the analyst expectations. Margins have expanded by 78 basis points quarter on quarter versus expectation of flat margins. So margins for the current quarter stand at 15.4%. The deal wins have been steady. The new deal wins in the current quarter stand at $239 million, which is higher than the average over the last couple of quarters. Attrition has declined for the 4th consecutive quarter in a row. The only thing we need to watch for is that the top client revenues have been falling down. Quarter-on-quarter revenues are down 12%, year-on-year revenues are down 43%. So there are issues that the company is facing with its top client. Oracle is the other one that we're tracking. Again, a steady set of earnings. Revenue growth 5.3% quarter-on-quarter. Year-on-year, it's a good double-digit 15% top-line growth. Margins have expanded on a sequential basis. But remember, EBITDA margins at 41.8% is lower than the margins the company used to enjoy just a couple of quarters back. But margins have expanded sequentially, and that's driving a 10% increase in the company's profitability. Back to you.
Okay, all right. Thanks a lot for that, Rima. Well, I'm tracking Vedanta. They have been declared the successful bidder for Meenakshi Energy Limited. That's under the corporate insolvency resolution process. The NCLT nod is still awaited, and the management says but that by FY24, they're likely to close out. The total amount for this particular asset will be 1,440 crores odd. Out of that, only 300 crores needs to be paid upfront. The remainder will be via secured, unlisted, non-convertible debentures that were issued by Meenakshi Energy itself. Couple of numbers on that. It's very small in the entire scheme of things, but it indicates the management's focus on the power part of their business. So the total revenues of this asset was only around 200 crores odd. It's a 1,000 megawatt coal-based plant, but out of that, only around 20 to 30% is currently operational. So there'll be additional money that has to go in there. And Vedanta says that they're going to be using it as an IPP. So they'll be looking at tying up and in fact supplying power as well. So viewing it positively since they have they'll be adding their power capacity.
Okay, all right. We'll keep an eye out on Vedanta. But Adani Enterprises is in focus this morning as the company will be raising 20,000 crores via the FPO route. Vivek is here to give us the latest on that. Vivek, over to you.
Well, absolutely right. It's a very large and much anticipated, much awaited FPO that's coming. They're looking to mobilize almost 20,000 crore, like you mentioned. So the details have now come in. The issue start date, open date is on 27th of January. It will run till 31st of January, and the anchor bidding will happen on 25th of January. The issue price band, the pricing band details have come in. So the lower end of the floor price has come in at close to 3,112 rupees, and the cap price is 3,276. So now this particular upper end of the band indicates a 9% discount to yesterday's closing price. The minimum bid lot size is of 4 shares, and the money will be raised in multiple tranches. The first tranche will be 50%. So if you get allotted, you have to pay 50% upfront, and the remaining calls will happen, in subsequent tranches. What is it that the company is utilizing the funds for? Key almost 10,800 crores will be utilized for further expansion of their projects in green hydrogen in their airport business, as well as greenfield expressway projects. A little over 4,000 crores will be used for debt repayment in various subsidiaries.
Okay, Vivek, thank you very much for that. Well, that's Adani Enterprises for you. Now, Aurobindo Pharma, Dr. Reddys and Shilpa Medicare are the other names with news flow. Ekta is standing by with all of that. Ekta, hi, morning.
Morning. I'll start with Dr. Reddys, or rather Aurobindo, where the US FDA inspected 2 of their units. They've issued 2 observations to the units, so hence it should be read positively. Dr. Reddys, they have cut the price of a cardiac drug which is going off patent already in the Indian market. So they had bought the rights from Novartis, which is basically the patent holder. They have market share of around 32%. It will be priced at around 29 rupees for 50 mg. But remember that there are other drugs in the same molecule which are priced lower, so it's probably going to be a fierce competition. Shilpa Medicare expect red on the stock. The promoters have pledged 50 lakh shares, which turns out to be 5.7% of the total equity. As of December, the promoters held 50% stake, 1.38% was pledged.
Okay, all right. Thanks a lot for that, Ekta. Well, let's hop across to Sonal. She's joining in to tell us about news flow coming in on Rallis, their numbers, and Mahindra Life Spaces. Morning, Sonal.
Good morning, Nigel. Let me start with Rallis. Reported very weak set of numbers. It's a decline while the revenues were flat on a YOY basis to come in at 630 crore rupees. EBITDA was down 21%. Margins were down almost 200 basis points, leading to a profit decline of almost 43%. The company says that they saw weakness because of erratic rainfall in the domestic markets and also because of headwinds that they saw in the export markets. So their exports declined by 6.5% this time around. The domestic crop protection business was decent, grew around 7.7%, and crop nutrition business grew around 22%. Watching out for Tata Chemicals because in consolidated numbers, they will look for Rallis numbers as well since it's the subsidiary. Moving on, Mahindra Life Spaces, because they have won their first society redevelopment project in Mumbai. They had told us earlier that they are interested in redevelopment. It will have a potential of 500 crore rupees and the developed land will measure around 1.27 acre. That is where they'll do the redevelopment. These 2 stocks will be on our radar today. Okay, thanks a lot for that, Sonal, and thanks to our entire team. In fact, let's do one thing. Let's do a quick recap of our top stocks. Stocks with positive news flow. There's IndusInd Bank, Persistent Systems, Oracle Financial Services, Vedanta, Aurobindo Pharma, Dr. Reddys and Mahindra Life Space Developers, while stocks with negative news flow, Adani Enterprises, Shilpa Medicare and Rallis India. But let's get a quick comment on what's happening in the world of commodities. Manisha Gupta is joining in for a roundup of all the action there. Manisha, a bit of cooling off is what we're seeing after what was a frenetic rise in the past many days.
Oh, well, absolutely. $88 a barrel is what we hit in the Brent crude prices yesterday. And the U.S. crude went all the way to $82 a barrel, but a sharp decline from those kind of levels. 2 reasons for that. One, you're looking at the U.S. dollar index gain up yet again, and that is putting pressure across commodities. And even as IE and OPEC both have said that the global consumption numbers are going to rise in 2023, markets are still dealing with higher inventories. The U.S. industrial production and retail sales data has come in on the weaker side, and you still have high inflation readings from UK and European Union, and that is weighing onto the markets. So not just crude, there's a sharp decline that we've seen happen in case of gold and silver prices also. The only thing that's holding firm, even now with these kind of numbers, is the metal prices. So whether it's zinc, aluminum, and copper, all the 3 trading positive in the Asian markets.
All right, Manisha, thank you very much for that. So that's commodities, but metals still are looking good. We'll take a quick break here. Sanjeev Bhasin, director at IIFL Securities.